keep watching. I'm getting excited.
Once they were happy, not only did they use me forever, they also recommended me to everybody.
You can separate yourself as a real estate agent in a vast way just by... Hi, everybody. My name is James Becker, and I am the founder and CEO of Fusion Growth Partners. One of the reasons why you might listen to what it is that I'm having to say and to consider some of the thoughts is because I have built from scratch one of the largest mega organizations or teams in the country. We currently have close to 850 top real estate agents that work and partner with my organization, and I have over 300 employees that support these agents. Last year, our agents sold over $6 billion in real estate, producing well over $150 million in gross commissions earned. I hope you find what I'm sharing interesting, insightful, and helpful for your business. Hi, everybody. Today, I'm going to be doing a series of videos where I'm going to be reacting to a video that Simon Squibb has recently put out on his channel. Simon Squibb is a British entrepreneur. He is the founder of HelpBank, the world's first help-to-earn platform designed to help individuals learn how to start and scale businesses for free while compensating those who assist them. His mission is to empower 10 million people to launch their own businesses and to reform the education system. Personally, when I watch his videos, I find him to be very genuine, caring, and really is on a mission to help people reach their dreams and to have personal freedom. Let's watch parts of his latest videos, how to start a business for free, and let's see if there are some lessons in there that real estate agents can apply to their business today.
Now, most people tell you to start a business when you have an idea. That's not where a business starts. A business starts with a feeling, an instinct that perhaps you need to make a change, and then applying yourself to learning what is the best way to build something that you love.
That's interesting. You know, most people that get into real estate start with this feeling like they want to do something else. They want to have more freedom. They want to be able to have more income, but rarely do they start thinking, gosh, I want to help people find homes. And so typically, I think a lot of real estate agents start where they are making a decision that they want to be more entrepreneurial. And so then they look for an opportunity that fits them. And in real estate, is something that fits a lot of people, particularly if they are people. This is why the slogan of our business is to, when you are doing business, is to focus on two things: make friends and serve people. And I think that that can become a real passion for a lot of the people that we work and partner with. Let's listen.
Everybody tells me that starting a business is filling a market gap or finding a niche. That is not true. One of my most successful early companies was a company called Fluid. This company turned into one of the biggest agencies in Asia, which I sold to PricewaterhouseCoopers for more money than I'll ever need. And when I launched that company, there was 500 other businesses doing almost exactly the same. So how did I manage to win? I didn't have an original idea like everybody tells you you've got to have to start a business. You don't start with an original idea. You start with what you like doing.
Do you like making friends? Do you like serving people? Is that in your heart? If that's the case, then residential real estate can be really powerful and could be a terrific fit for you.
Now, I love helping businesses and people succeed. I love marketing. I could spend all day long studying and understanding marketing. Every time someone launches a new business, I want to understand how they made it successful. I'm obsessed. I enjoy it. It's my hobby. There is no work-life balance. There is only syncing up your life with your business.
There is no work-life balance. It's just syncing up your life with your business. I love that. If you're really going to be highly successful, there is no real balance. Certainly that is what I have found. But I also have found that I've been able to sync up my life with my business. And so I don't feel like I'm working hardly ever because I'm doing what I love to do.
And so I believe the first step in starting a business is following your passions. Now, everybody tells you that that's not the way to start a business because often your passions initially don't necessarily generate revenue. But that's because you haven't applied a business mindset to what you love. So I loved marketing, and I started a creative agency called Fluid that helped people come up with marketing ideas to make their businesses successful. Now, there were many companies doing it, but not many of these people doing it loved it like I did. So I evolved my marketing abilities, pushed the boundaries of what was possible, used new technologies like, at the time, email marketing and direct marketing that no one else was doing because I was obsessed with what is the latest thing. And for you, the way you do it is you've got to write down what you like doing and got to write down what you don't like doing. What you love doing, you've got to get really good at. And what you don't like doing, you've got to outsource and not do it.
You need to outsource the stuff that you don't love doing. And that is typically the repetitive routines that have to happen to have some kind of consistency in your business. And so that's one of the things that we have worked on because I love setting up systems. I love creating repetitive routines that have a compounding effect. And that's why we end up partnering with a lot of our agents. And then you have to get really good at the things that you love, that you're passionate about. And so for our clients, the ones that we work primarily, they love making friends. They love taking care of people. They love serving people. And that's a skill too. And you have to get really good at it. And so the agents that we work with that are really good at it really have a tremendous amount of success because we're taking care of those other routines behind the scenes so they can focus on the things that are fun and the things that bring them joy and meaning in their life.
You need to spend more time getting better at it. That is a lie. You've got to spend more time getting good at the thing you love to do. Get obsessed by it. And that's actually where a business idea begins. Because once you have figured out what you love doing, the next step is the idea. Now again, people will tell you that you need to come up with an original idea. That's not true. The second thing is when it comes to an idea, you can actually combine forces with other people. So back to my example, when I launched Fluid, I loved marketing. And I met someone who could take my marketing ideas and turn them into graphic illustrations and brilliant presentations and abilities to help that company in a visual way understand my idea. So I teamed up with her and created a 50-50 business partner. I'll come on to equity later in the video.
This is so important because if you're going to grow a business, you cannot do it on your own. That's basically a job. If you're going to create some sort of leverage, you have to be working with other people. And this is one of the things that we really want to do for our partners is to bring resources like graphic designers or video editors or those types of things. But it's just so important that you have other people that you're teamed up with. The challenge that most real estate agents have is they don't want to pay or they don't want to share some of the income. And so when you have someone that has that mindset of scarcity, what it really means is that person is putting themselves in a position that they're just going to be by themselves all the time, and they have to do all of the work themselves all of the time. And you just can't scale in that way. Let's continue to watch this guy. By the way, I really like this guy a lot. I don't know what you're thinking so far, but I really like him.
That was literally the springboard to one of the most successful companies in Asia in this space. So the key is not coming up with an original idea and trying to do it all on your own. The key is coming up with something you love linked to what you do. And perhaps if there's a gap within your ability to execute on what you love, find a partner. So for example, if you love writing, then write a book. And maybe you need to find a partner that can publish that book, or find a company that will publish that book, or get someone to help you, like an agent, find someone that will publish that book. And that's where it really begins. In the idea phase, it's got to link to your passion.
This is one of the things that I find real estate agents really struggle on, is being able to ask for help. A lot of agents, I don't know why this is, but they feel like they have to be good at everything. And they really don't. They have to be good at the main thing, and they need to ask for help. And if they can do those two things, whatever that main thing is, there's real power in that. But if you're trying to do everything yourself, if you're trying to learn everything yourself, you're losing time, and that time has a lot of value to it. At least that's my opinion.
You figured out what you love doing, and now you have an idea. Now, the idea itself can evolve. From my point of view, when I started what I'm doing today, which is a platform to help you for free, the first thing I did was, in fact, a podcast. So the step after idea is step one, execution. And execution involves, what is the first thing you can do to make your business idea come to life?
He's talking about starting a podcast, and this is something that I have really delayed and put off. And I made the decision a couple of months ago to really dive into this video space. And this is one of my first videos that I'm putting out there in this type of format. Hopefully you're enjoying it, but I'm diving in. It may not be very good, but you know what? I'm going to get better, and I'm in the arena, but you have to plan on what you need to do. So for myself, I went out, I hired someone who knew better than I did, and she came in, designed a plan, designed a studio, designed or listed out all the equipment. We bought it. We then hired a professional videographer to help us do that. You don't necessarily need to do that, but I needed to do that because I'm managing a lot of other things. And you just got to go and dive in. So you make a list of what you need, and then you got to get into action. At least that's what I'm doing. And you're witnessing this happening right now. Kind of cool.
For me, in my example, it was a podcast. But for you, it might be a blog. It might be a LinkedIn post. It might be setting up a social media handle and starting to post up your photography. Whatever the first step execution is, do not make it too hard for yourself. In my case, sitting down, interviewing people I found interesting, recording it and putting it up would serve the purpose of giving people mentorship in a podcast for free, which was my first step in my mission in my recent business. So all I really did was get a microphone, sit down and record conversations. Now, if you go back and look at those very early podcasts, the execution was not brilliant. The guests were good, the execution was not great. I had a rubbish microphone, I had a rubbish camera, and I slowly improved. And step one is come up with a simple execution plan. Step two in starting a business.
Coming up with a simple execution plan is more complex than I think that he is suggesting. You have to really sit down and write it out and then say, is there anything I'm missing? And kind of go through it in detail. This takes more than 2 minutes to do, but you can do it within a relatively short period of time. But you have to put on your thinking cap. You have to put the phone down. You have to get off social media, and you have to focus. What do I need to do to actually get rubber on the road? At least that's what I found for myself.
Consider where the revenue is going to come from. Now, some people say you need this within the idea phase. And yes, you can put it within the idea phase, but sometimes revenue doesn't actually make itself clear until you start. So an example, if you're a photographer and you think you're going to make your money charging by the hour for your photography skills, you're probably limiting yourself, right? So you're probably better off initially taking pictures of things you love and putting them up online and seeing if people would buy them. Seeing if people would license the pictures, experimenting with revenue models and seeing what sticks. Sure, maybe people will book you by the hour, but why would you start off with a revenue model that limits yourself? So I think when building a business, the thing to really think about is not necessarily revenue, but experimenting with different ways to make money from the thing that you are doing. So again, when I launched Fluid, Most companies charge by the hour for their marketing consultancy service. We didn't. We charged by the outcome of what we did. So if we helped a company be successful, sell more product, we took a percentage of those sales. Now, that was not part of most companies' business models.
We provide a ton of different services that most people would charge by the hour. And then we also provide advisory services. Some people would call it coaching services. And most coaches for real estate agents charge by the hour, charge by the month. But for myself, I really wanted to make it where people would want to partner with us and they could certainly quantify the value of what we were bringing to them. And so I did the same thing. I basically set this thing up that we earned our income. We would build out this huge infrastructure and we would execute it, and I would pay my employees to build it. And yet we only got paid when our agents were closing business. And that was an absolute unique scenario when I started it, because I'm not a broker.
Because most people start with an idea and then they do a revenue model and then they start. A famous quote is, everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the face. And the truth is, when you launch a business, you just want to keep yourself nimble, like a boxer. You want to see what is going to be the best punch combination for you to make your business work.
By the way, that's what real estate agents also do. We primarily get paid when a house sells. We get paid commission. So we take a listing, and if that listing sells, we get paid. We take on a buyer. We spend hours and hours with that buyer. If they don't buy a home, if they don't close on a deal, if they don't get something that they want, we don't get paid anything. And so you're doing the same thing. And that's kind of cool. It also shows the ability to take some sort of risk in your business, which is also important.
When starting a business, step 3 is you've got to make sure your purpose is strong. Now, you've made sure that you enjoy what you do, and that's great because that's going to help you get up in the morning. But actually, I believe new businesses today need to think about what they're going to do to make a difference in the world. How are you going to make sure that people want to work with you? How are you going to make sure that what you're doing isn't just for profit? Because if it's just for profit, everybody that works for you is going to want more money. Everybody that's working with you is going to want to pay you less. But if you have a purpose bigger than yourself, and identify that purpose and install it in your business, I promise you, you won't be managing people anymore. One of the biggest stresses of building a company.
This is so good. I mean, just super powerful. For us, with our clients, we start our relationship by having them really focus what is truly important to them. And we go many levels deep as we're having this conversation. What's important to you? And then why is that important? And why is that important? And for, I'd say, 90% of the agents that we work with, the difference that they want to make in the world is that they want to take care of the people that they love. That is most important. Their kids, their grandkids, the community that they are in, the charity that they are attached to. And so we say, okay, this is our due north. We want to be in a position to be able to affect this change. And then when there are people that work for them or employees of our own, we want to know what their due north is. And then we have to tie that due north to the success of the business or the success of their position. And when you do that, it changes the dynamic and the culture of what you're doing. And if you're just an agent by yourself, you still need that culture. You need that drive, not just for profit, because for most people, it doesn't matter. People get the boat and that's fun for a little while, but then it's not. What do they say? The two most favorite days of a boat owner is the day that they buy it and then the day that they sell it. Stuff doesn't matter in the end for most people. And so you have to find this thing that transcends who you are and profit to drive you. And I really believe this, and this is something that we really encourage our partners to also embrace and also our employees. I love what this guy is saying. He's right on the money, in my opinion.
You won't have to manage people because you only have to manage purpose. Now, I'm going to go into more depth how this all works, but a lot of what I've talked about here already has cost you no money. You haven't had to spend any money. Now, even if your idea is to launch an app that costs £1 million to develop, Start off with a service business. Start off with a revenue-based model that can get you there. So an example is Airbnb. When they launched, they actually sold cereal boxes at conventions. It was enough to be similar to Airbnb because some of the first accommodation that Airbnb ever sold was at conventions.
The Airbnb story is amazing. If you want to hear more about the Airbnb story, I suggest that you look up on YouTube Blitz Scaling at Stanford University. And the founder, Brian Chesney, I believe is his name. Brian is interviewed in the classroom at Stanford University, and he tells the story how he got Airbnb kicked off. It feels as if someone's telling you this great suspense story. It's amazing. So go check out Blitz Scaling at Stanford University and look for the episode with Brian, the CEO of Airbnb.
And they would rent out rooms on Airbnb later. But initially, they sold cereal boxes, Obama reels at these events to get to know their customers, connect to their customers, have a conversation with their customers and make money. And that is the money they used to initially get the business going. So I will come on to other steps later now in the video about raising money and other ways to do this. But if you do these first few things, your business is up and running, it's cost you no money. And I promise you, because it will have purpose, because you like it, and because there's a revenue model behind it, you will do it, it will happen. So how to win in business? Let's say you've already got a company, you're not winning and you want to win, or you want to know the secret formula to winning. And having built nearly 19 companies, I'm on my 19th business now, how to win in business is actually very simple. Now I mentioned earlier having purpose and you personally being passionate about it, that's definitely going to give you an edge, because most people are not loving what they're doing. So if you are, you're already winning. But there is a secret formula to winning, and that starts with a couple of things. Number one, delayed gratification.
What? Delayed gratification? That is unheard of in residential real estate agents' mindsets for the most part. I love this guy. Let's keep listening, see what he has to say.
Spelt completely wrong. You get what I mean though, right? Delayed gratification is the number one reason that businesses win.
Yes, 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 yes. I have yet to see a real estate agent that wants to get immediate gratification, wants to make the fast sale, win long term. And for me, if it's not sustainable, if it's not something long term, you shouldn't be doing it. I cannot tell you, you can separate yourself as a real estate agent in a vast way just by looking at things in a long-term perspective combined with delayed gratification, not necessarily getting an ROI right away. If you can do that, you separate yourself from 99% of the other real estate agents that are out there. This is a critical piece to being successful long-term in the residential real estate business. This is just terrific stuff. Let's keep watching. I'm getting excited now.
Customers, for example, you let them help you succeed. So the first customer I ever got in my agency, Fluid, I actually did the work for free. Now, a lot of people say don't do the work for free. I don't agree.
Do the work for free? Are you kidding? I am worth every bit of my commission. I've heard this a bazillion times, and it cracks me up because one of the things that I really advocate is for agents to build a geographical farm. And that means basically that they get a group of homes that are all together in a neighborhood, 500 homes, 700 homes, 2,000 homes, whatever it is, and that you're marketing in that neighborhood to become the area expert. And one of the things that I suggest is any opportunity you have to get a listing, take it, because you need to have the social proof of a sign in the yard that someone decided to do business with you and that you sold a house. And so I've said, if you have to do it for free, do it for free. And I have agents, they get so mad at me. Do it for free. I'm worth so much more. That's not the point. You will be worth so much more when you establish yourself as the expert in the area. You will get paid by future customers, but you don't necessarily need to get paid by the ones that are starting off with you, who are taking a chance with you. And I'm not saying do it for free regardless. I'm just saying if you have to do it for free, do it for free so that you get the listing, you get the sign in the yard, you have a happy client, and then you get another client in that area. And once you start getting signs in that neighborhood, you own that neighborhood, and it becomes an annuity that will produce income for you over and over and over again. What Simon is saying is so aligned with what I believe. I'm just loving what he's telling us. Let's listen to more.
I built up a relationship with that customer. I over-delivered when it was free. And that meant once they were happy, not only did they use me forever, for the 16 years that I ran that company, they also recommended me to everybody. They felt like they were part of my early journey.
People using you again and again and referring their friends and family, does that make you money? If you're focused on making money at every turn, you will end up losing significant income later on. This is looking at things at a long-term perspective versus the short-term and needing to have immediate gratification.
But if you delay getting gratification, you will make more money. And there's so many examples of this.
If you delay gratification, you'll make so much more money. Amen. I absolutely believe this 110%, 150%, 200%. If you employ delayed gratification, you will make more money, guaranteed.
Look at big businesses. They spent years making no money. And then when they had the system all in place, huge databases, for example, then they can monetize. And people don't wait long enough. The other thing you can do is have a very strict moral code within your business, a culture. Culture will eat strategy for breakfast every single time. You've got to make sure that your culture in the company is client-centric. A good example of this is Amazon. I'm just saying that they do actually focus on their customers as a culture. And I think that a lot of people are too busy, for example, thinking about how they can get money out of their customer and not thinking how they can bring value.
For real estate agents, this certainly applies. Most real estate agents are looking to how they can get more money out of the client or make more money, whatever the case may be, versus providing more value for that client. And in the long run, if you're providing more value for clients long-term, you're going to get more clients. And then there's a compounding effect to the revenue that your business is bringing in.
Bring value. You want loyalty, bring value. You want them to follow you, promote you, share you on their stories, care about you, talk about you when you're not in the room, then show them some love. It sounds simple, but people don't do it because they're too busy not waiting for the payoff and too busy not installing a culture of patience, a culture of caring about your customers.
Sure.
And then the final thing is luck. Now, luck is not a subjective thing. Luck, I have discovered, is hackable. And you can hack luck 3 ways. First, be persistent. And what I mentioned earlier about purpose and loving what you do will help you be persistent.
At Fusion, we call this going through the valley of despair, because when you're in business, you're going to hit some roadblocks and it's going to be tough and things aren't going to be working the way that you want. And you can either quit or you can be persistent and keep going. Winston Churchill famously said, if you find yourself going through hell, keep going. That's what I believe. Don't stop and go back. Keep going, because ultimately you'll get out of that and you'll have more success. That's only 2 sections of this particular episode that Simon has put together on his channel. I suggest that you go out and watch it. This is really, really good stuff. Hey, if you like my comments or they resonated with you and you're interested in building a big real estate business and a more profitable real estate business where you don't have to do everything yourself, check us out on our website, growwithfusion.com. And I hope you have an amazing day. And on a final note, let's follow Simon's advice. Let's take some risk. Let's go out and practice delayed gratification. And let's not let those critics stop us from doing what's in our heart and what is our passion. Have a great day.